1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. All right? And that's talking about the so-called white man, man. He's the one that has he's sitting in the power seat, all right? And the infrastructure he's created, he has everybody coveting after money and going after their all so-called mighty dollar, all right? And the scriptures tell us to don't seek things of this world, all right? Don't covet worldly riches, which moths eat, all right? But seek heavenly riches, spiritual blessings, all right? And I got this clip of Omar Gaddafi on this clip, because when you hear this clip, 2 Corinthians 2:11 said we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. And this devil, everything's about money, gold, and oil with him, okay? And then when he gains command of a land and rapes them out of their natural resources, he put in one of his minions to, a better word to say for our day and time, for edification say, he'll put in one of his governors, one of his representatives, a puppet to rule over their landmass, just like he do the children of Israel. He come in amongst our people, divide and conquer. He gives one of them coons a few bones off his table, and then he sets them up in a position where they rule over. They lord over our people, and they do whatever he tell them to do. Okay, and in these last days, this devil, all of his tricks of the trade have been revealed by the men of the Lord. Now I'm gonna play this clip just to show why you never trust thine enemy, and why you got to be covered with the breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, the gospel of the sandals of peace, and the buckle of truth, and to withstand all the fiery darts that this devil would throw at you. And one of the things he always throw at you is money bags. He'll come at you with a bag full of gold, a bag full of diamonds, to sell out to him. That's what he did with our great king. All right? So you got to be ready to withstand him, all his fiery darts that he would throw at you. But without further ado, I'm going to press play, and I'm going to interject in certain points.
All right, let's start this hour with Libya. Over the last few weeks, one military general's push to overthrow the country's UN-backed government has been gaining steam. And despite the U.S. helping to install that very government now under siege, President Trump is publicly praising General Khalifa Haftar, the former resident of Northern Virginia, now leading his Libyan National Army in the battle for Tripoli. Supporting Haftar says Trump on the same page as regional power brokers like Egypt, Russia, and the UAE. But the rest of the world remains split. RT correspondent Rachel Blevins is joining us now from the newsroom with more details. Rachel?
More than 200 people have been killed this month after a military general in Libya launched a campaign to overthrow the current government. But while this general is working against the government the United States helped to create, he also has a history of working with the CIA. Thousands of...
All right. Now this is how the devil gets down. The devil is backing the so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite. We always push that vibration, tell the truth of his nationality. He goes throughout the planet, getting in everybody else's affairs, and he divides and conquers. All right. Now he's backing this CIA operative who he bought over here in America and gave asylum. All right, who's a Libyan. And he's backing this guy to go topple the government that's in Libya that they set up. So America is the puppet master, and really the so-called Jews are the puppet masters, Amalek, and they play both sides of the field. That's how the so-called white man get down. All right? He's very deceitful, and he does everything it's all about money. The government that's in must not be doing unto his liking, so now he's going to send another puppet in. All right, and I'm gonna let a little bit more play so I can bring out this precept.
Approach Protesters gathered in Libya's capital on Friday to speak out against the foreign support the forces led by Khalifa Haftar have received from countries like France, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. That support now also includes the U.S. after the White House released a statement announcing that President Trump is in talks with Haftar about ongoing counterterrorism efforts and the need to achieve peace and stability in Libya.
All right, whenever somebody don't agree with America, these corporate bankers, they're deemed terrorists. We're going to be deemed terrorists. When you don't submit to the beast system, you're going to be deemed a terrorist. That's why Isaiah the 5th chapter say, woe to them that call good evil and evil good. In a world full of gross darkness, anybody shedding light, you're going to be demonized in that society. No different than in a world of light bearers, in a world that's covered in light and truth. Somebody of darkness is going to be demonized. All right? So that's what's going on here. The government that's in Libya is not fulfilling the will of Amalek. Those corporate bankers, they doing their own thing. So this is what the so-called white man does. He funds people to go in and topple them, and they always put in their puppet government, puppet leaders up in there that do their bidding. So they raped the place of all his diamonds. Libya was one, before Gaddafi was taken down, was most definitely the richest country in Africa. The most richest, most lucrative country in Africa. They had free health care. They had all kind of perks for the inhabitants of Libya. And America went in and destroyed them because Omar Gaddafi didn't want to deal with the corporate bank and the American dollar anymore. All right? He wanted to do his own thing and uplift his people, and he was destroyed and deemed a terrorist. All right?
They said Trump recognized Haftar's significant role in fighting terrorism and securing Libya's oil resources, and that the two discussed a shared vision for Libya's transition to a stable democratic political system.
See, it's all about oil. You see? He's fighting terrorism and securing Libya's oil. It's no such thing, all right? So when you get in the truth, you learn your enemy, all right? Nobody's terrorizing anybody. Saddam wasn't terrorizing his people, all right? Gaddafi wasn't terrorizing his people. Assad isn't terrorizing his people. And Kim Jong-un isn't terrorizing his people. All of these people had one thing in common, and they didn't want to deal with the corporate bankers. They didn't want to deal with Rothschild banks anymore. That's all that these people have in common. If you talk to somebody from Saudi Arabia, they tell you they love Saddam. All right. When you talk to somebody from North Korea, they say they love Kim Jong-un. When you talk to somebody from Libya, they tell you they love they love Omar Gaddafi. All right. When you only can look at the world outlook, look at the world from the perspective of American news, that's all you have to go on. So the narrator controls everything. When you can narrate everything, you can make the sheep believe whatever you want. And that's what's going on here in America. Salakia. All right? And as you can see, it's all about natural resources. It's all about oil. This devil does nothing new under the sun. This is what he does. He goes in people's country. He beguile them. He beguile them. And he gives them, he sit at the table with them. And he tells them this is how this is going to go. And he gives them ultimatums. When they don't receive it, or they don't lay down to whatever this devil brings to them, then that's where he comes down with the sword and just take whatever somebody has. In fact, let me get a precept. This is Hosea. Where I brought that? Hosea chapter 12, verse 7. This is talking about Ephraim when Ephraim was going off, but you can liken this to the so-called white man, man. This is the so-called white man all day. This is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 7. He is a merchant. All right. And what does a merchant do? A merchant deals with business and commerce. All right. A merchant is all about money, traveling and making money. That's what the so-called white man is. All right. hoarding up riches and stacking up gold and all of that. That's what the so-called white man is about. That's all he's about. All right. The balance of the seat are in his hand. All right. So when he goes to do business deals, he's never upright. When he goes to do business and commerce with people, he's never upright. All right. He never does. He's just a shady snake oil salesman. OK. And then when you don't succumb to his will, this is what he do. All right. He takes the sword, and the rest of the scriptures say he loves to oppress. All right. So he takes the sword, bomb you, hit you with chemical warfare, whatever he has to do. And then he takes down your king. He kills thousands of your people, and then he set in a puppet governor, a puppet leader that he controls, and he just takes over the landmass and oppress the people in their own country. This is what the so-called white man does. Get another precept about his bitch ass. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, and this is what America does, all right? This is Habakkuk chapter 2. What am I looking for? Let me see, is it 15? I'm looking for the one that say he never stays at home. I know it's in 2. Bear with me. This whole chapter speaks about his ass, though. All right. Here we go. This is what I want. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yeah, also, because he transgressed by wine, philosophy. All right. He takes you to the wheel and deal table. All right. And then he comes with his philosophy, with his forked tongue, and he beguiles you. He deceives you. All right. He is a proud man. All right. He's an arrogant fucker. All right. All right. The Most High resists the proud, man. The Most High deal with men of honor. Men of honor know how to humble themselves. Okay. This is a proud man, a wicked fuck. All right. Neither keepeth at home. Now he's over there in Libya. He has nothing to do with Libya. All right. He's everywhere on the planet. He's in South Korea. He's in the Middle East. He's in Yemen. He's every fucking where. He's down there in Australia. He done took over Australia. He don't keep it at home. He don't stay up there in Mount Seir. He can't stand. We ran him in the caves. He's everywhere. He's in everybody's landmass. All right. Who enlarges his desire as hell. What he has is not enough. He got to go covet and take other people's fields. All right. He got to take other people's resources. All right. He's over there robbing Libya for their oil, for their natural resources. Libya is known for having diamonds and stuff too. And is it as death. And when he go in, he blow countries up. He killed the inhabitants. All right. And cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations and heaping unto him all people. All right. So he go in every nation and he gathered them and he oppressed them. All right. Verse 8. I'm going to skip down to verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. And that's what's going to happen to this fucking devil. Because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein. Verse 9. Woe to him that covet evil covenants to his house. He's coveting what the Libyans have. All right. He's coveting what the Iranians have. All right. He's coveting everything, every natural resource what people have. He's coveting the Amazon rainforest where people dwell. Okay. That he may sit his nest on high, that he could stay at the top of the totem pole. Okay, this is what he do. That he might be delivered from the power of evil. And he don't understand universal laws. You reap what you sow. What you give, you're gonna give, according to Revelation 13 and 10. Okay. Let me get another precept. Micah 2 verse 2. And it reads, Woe to them that devise iniquity. All right, this devil devises iniquity. All right, he goes on people land masses. He studies. He does his research, and then he devises wicked devices to take them down and rape them. Okay, and work evil upon their beds. And this is what he do non-stop. He never sleeps. The so-called white man is always seeking who he could devour. The spiritual demon Satan inhabits the so-called white race, the red Hebrew Edomites. That's their biblical nationality. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And that's what they do. The Most High is giving the earth into the hand of the wicked, according to Job 9:24. All right. And the devil that is bearing rule. And this is what he do. He covets fields. He steals. He robs. He kills. Okay. Verse 2. And they covet fields and they take them by violence. All right. Libya was taken by violence. All right. And philosophy and lies. All right. And vain deceit. Saying that's what they do. They say the king of that land is a tyrant. And he's oppressing his people, and we'll come to deliver them and give them liberty and give them democracy. Okay? All right? Everybody's waking up to that. That's lies. Those are lies. And houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So when they put in their puppet governors, their puppet leaders, those puppet leaders carry out their enterprise. So that puppet leader is all he does is oppress the people. He just oppress. All right? The scriptures got this goddamn devil down to a science, man. Okay?
But supporting Haftar's campaign would mean supporting a war against a government the U.S. has worked to create and support for the last 8 years. Haftar is originally from Libya, and he actually started out as an ally of Gaddafi. The two...
You see? Now, this is what the devil does. This was an ally of Gaddafi and fought in Gaddafi's army. In fact, he didn't only fight in Gaddafi's army, he had rank. He had rank in Gaddafi's army. All right? Hold on. Let me let a little bit more play so I can expound.
Worked together to overthrow the country's government in 1969, but they had a falling out in 1987 after Gaddafi put Haftar in charge of Libya's forces during a conflict with Chad, and Haftar and 300 of his soldiers were captured. That's when the CIA stepped in, and they brought Haftar to Virginia, where he lived for nearly 20 years, close to the CIA's headquarters.
All right, so this guy, Haftar, was a prisoner of war. Chad is over there in Africa. So one nation caught him and had him as a prisoner of war. America went and got, and whatever was going on between Chad and Libya has nothing to do with him. Then we just read in Habakkuk, he never keeps it at home. He's always in somebody else's business. And they took him from Chad. That show you Chad, they oppressed Chad. How you gonna come take my prisoner of war and give him asylum? All right, let somebody go in Guantanamo Bay, where America is holding these so-called terrorists, and just say, look, we're taking them and we're gonna give them asylum in our country. That's gonna be an act of war if you do that to America. That's why the scriptures say the joy of the hypocrite is but a moment. So-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite, is the biggest hypocrite on the planet Earth, man. All right. So when they went and got this guy, the whole point they went and got him is because they always coveted Libya. So they got him to brainwash him, probably put him in the MK Ultra camp. So, and send him back 20 years later so they could go fulfill their enterprise and get the riches of Libya. All right. And this guy is going back fighting his brothers. He's going back fighting his place of nativity. All right, fighting his own people. Okay, this is what the so-called white man does. He turns brothers into enemies. This is Proverbs 16, verse 28. A froward man soweth strife. This is what the so-called white man does. He's a froward man. Let me find that word froward. Let me go into Hebrew and get that word fraud. Let's see what the Most High has to say about this goddamn devil so we can be thorough and know what this word forward means. Damn, my shit lacking. What's going on with your blue letter? Bear with me, y'all. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Proverbs 16, verse 28. And it reads, oh, I'm tripping. I'm going to get that word in the Hebrew, Salakia. All right, here we go. I'm about to go to the inner line and get this word forward. It's the Hebrew word.
Strong's H8419. Tapucha.
Tapukaya.
Tapucha.
Tapuka, Salakia. All right, and what does it mean? Perversity, a perverse thing. All right, and when you're perverse, you're off, man. Okay? Perverse means to be wicked. All right, going against the grain. All right? Let's see what the root word says. To be overthrown, overturned. All right? Judas was perverse. Judas was overturned by Satan, and he turned on Yahweh Shema Shai. All right? That's being perverse. Basically being anti-Mashiach. To turn about, turn over, overturn, to change, to transform. So instead of you being holy, you become abominable and defiled. That makes you perverse. All right? When you fall out of this truth, you become perverse, abominable. To turn oneself back, to change oneself. To be turned over, be changed, turned against. All right? So you basically get it. To be turned away from righteousness, perverse. The wicked Israelites are perverse. Okay? So the so-called white man is perverse. He's anti-Mashiach, anti-Christ. And I just said anti-Christ for edification for brothers that might be coming in. But we say anti-Mashiach. He's anti-Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right? He's the lawless one, the man of sin, the Hebrew Edomites. Okay? Back to Proverbs 16 and 28. All right. I need to get that split screen back up. All right, here we go. Proverbs 16, verse 28. A forward man soweth strife. All right. So when the way you sow strife is you have two brothers at peace and you go tell lies and sow discord between those two guys. All right. That's what the so-called white man does. That's one of his tools and one of his weapons of war. It's to sow discord. When he came here on this landmass, that's what he did with the Cherokee Indians. He went and sowed discord with Cherokee Indians, and the Cherokees became fucking Uncle Toms, working for him. They were scouting for him, looking for other Native Americans, man. Paying them niggas guns and shit, man. All right, that's what the so-called white man does. That's one of his weapons. All right, he's gonna send in these last day seconds of time and a lot of these camps. You're gonna have devils that come in. He's gonna send federal agents, moles coming in, acting like they're sincere. All right, and then when they get in there, they're gonna be trying to sow discord, but they'll be sent there by the so-called white man, and they don't understand that the spirit rose, they'll come in and end up getting turned for righteousness' sake, you know? All right? And a whisper separateth chief friends. These guys are brothers. This guy fought in the Libyan army, all right? Now he's going against the people that he was once a part of. But he went over here in America and got poisoned. You see what I'm saying? And he's going back doing the bidding of the Americans. He's not worried about his people and uplifting his people and putting it back to where he was fighting with on the side of Gaddafi. He's going there to fulfill the Edomites' enterprise, the Americans' enterprise, all right? To get their oil and send their oil back to America. That's what it's all about. All right, he's not worried about taking that oil and willing, dealing, and uplifting his people. He's not doing that. He's a traitor to his people. All right, and they got a lot of that going on here in Israel. You got people taking money bags from this devil.
reports claimed he was being trained to prepare a force to counter Gaddafi, and during that time he was granted U.S. citizenship. Now, Haftar returned to Libya in 2011, where he was instrumental in the overthrow of Gaddafi, but he then disappeared from the political realm until 2014, when he began calling once again for an overthrow of Libya's government. Now, as the leader of the Libyan National Army, Haftar is fighting for control of the country, and his campaign has left more than 200 people dead and more than 1,000 injured this month. If Trump continues talks with Haftar and if he receives full support from the U.S., it will cost more than just money. There will also be the potential for more death and destruction in a country that has spent years struggling to recover after intervention from the U.S. left thousands dead and created a climate that fueled an increase in sectarian violence.
They said, see, that's why I love looking at Russia Today. Russia Today be more straightforward, you get more potent news. They go off sometimes, but for the most part, they be potent. Them in Al Jazeera, see, they tell the truth. They say America went in and killed thousands. That place was not like that. Libya was a thriving metropolis before America went in there. Its infrastructure was beautiful, man. All right, and Russia Today is telling the truth, and America's backing this guy. He's gonna tear that bitch up more. All right, it's gonna tear that bitch up more. But the thing I'm pointing out in this clip, how this devil plays both sides, how cunning this fucking devil and subtle this devil is. In fact, let me get that. He was like that from the beginning. This is Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent, this is a metaphor by the so-called for the so-called white man. The Most High likened him to a serpent. When you look at a snake, man, a snake isn't the strongest animal. All right, it's really feeble and weak. I mean, you could drop a brick on it and kill a motherfucker. But the way he moves, he's deceitful, and his venomous bite. A lot of them have venom. Their venomous bite is deadly. All right. And the Most High likened him to the so-called white man. A snake beguiles his prey. He sneaks up on him. When he think he's looking, then he be still. He sticks out that forked tongue to smell the air, all right, to follow his prey. And then get close to his prey, act like he's being still. When his prey don't see him, he bites him. That's how the so-called white man gets down, man. All right? And the scriptures say the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. The Most High likened the other nations to beasts. All right? He likened us Israelites to the sons of Yahweh Shema Shai. He called us the sons of God. All right? In those days. But he likened the other nations that was in the Garden of Eden as beasts. And he said, out of all the beasts, the so-called white man was the most subtle. The red Hebrew Edomites, who back then they was in the spirit of Cain, all right? But they're more subtle. That's how they get down, man. And they started off in the book of Genesis, and the Most High likened them to the servant. Then when you go down all these eons and eons and eons, and you get to Revelation of 12th chapter, this is a fucking dragon with 12 motherfucking heads, with all those fucking heads, man. 10 heads, Salakia, to be on point. 7 heads, 10 crowns and shit, I'm roughly paraphrasing, but he's not a fucking serpent. He's a fire-breathing dragon now. All right, in fact, let me get that. This is the Most High likening America's army to Leviathan, man. Where that scripture at? Job. This is Job 41. I'm going to start at the top, just read some about this and get down to the point. All right. This is Job 41 and 10. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who is this able to stand before me? This is the Most High talking about Leviathan, man. All right. Who prevented me that I should repay him? Whoever is under the whole heaven is mine. All right. I read that one wrong. It sounds like it's talking about Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, no, that's talking about Leviathan. All right, none is so fear that dares stir him up. That's talking about Leviathan. Who is then able to stand before me? All right, and Yahweh Shema Shai is the one that created Leviathan. I would not. I'm gonna skip down to verse 12. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely portion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to dwell with his double bridle? You can't bridle this so-called white man. You can't bridle the American army. You can't bridle the Russian army. What you gonna do? You can't subdue them without the help and the power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride. That's another telltale time. It's talking about the so-called white man. All right, metaphorically speaking, talking about his military might, his government infrastructure. All right, shut up together as with the closed seal. All right, you can't penetrate the American government and topple them down, man. All right, the only way this devil's going to get taken down is through divine intervention, help from the spiritual realm, man. All right. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. You can't penetrate the American army, man. All right. You can shoot at them all day. Their weaponry arsenal is so vast and lethal, they're going to destroy you, man. They can shoot laser beams from those fucking space stations up in heaven and knock your ass off, man. By Nising a light does shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids in the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils go smoke as out of a seething pot of a caldron. His breath kindle coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. That's how when you don't submit to him, that's what he does. He use all that power that he has and just bomb countries and just come take their shit. Okay? His neck remaineth strength. And look, what the scriptures say, that what Judah would be in the neck of his enemies. All right? So we're in the neck of our enemies, and our enemies is fucking strong. Is not our enemy strong? Who is stronger than these Americans? We're in the neck of our enemies, and America is strong right now. All right? But we are breaking them down spiritually. All right? And sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They affirm themselves. They cannot be moved. Nobody can take down this so-called white man. All right? In fact, the book of Obadiah says his pride has deceived him. His arrogant ass, that's how he feel. When you hear Americans boast about America, can't nobody fuck with our military. We're the best. We got so much shit. Nobody can fuck with us. And that's Rome we burn. That's the same thing the Romans used to say in ancient Rome. And then they were toppled by barbarians, man. And the people that were at their borders. The barbarians hit them from one end, and I think the Goths hit them, the Gauls hit them from another end. They were getting war on every side, and that's what's happening with America. America is Roman, ancient Rome again, carbon copy, got their army stretched out thin, just like ancient Rome did. All right, got bases all in Japan and shit. Got their army stretched out, and everybody's going to be coming at them from every which way. All right. Now let me get down to verse 25. And it says, when he raised up himself, the mighty are afraid. That's talking about these other nations. All right? These other nations are afraid when he comes at them. So this is what they do when he breathes his fire-breathing threats. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves. And that's what we do for Yahweh Shema Shai. We humble ourselves. When you purify yourself, you getting ready for Yahweh Shema Shai. He say, don't come to him empty. Make sure you're clean before you come to him. All right, that's what they do. They get in order for him. All right, when they come to those summits, them GA summits and shit, they dress up in suit and ties. They bring in their English interpreters and shit, and then they come submit to this devil, man. All right? That's what they do. So-called white man, man. He's the devil the Bible speak of, man. and he sows discord amongst brothers, and that's his weapons of war. That's one of his many weapons of war. All right? Get back to the clip now.
It has also raised the question, if the first U.S. intervention didn't...
And it's a lot, and that's what he do. He play both sides. You have two countries warring, and he'll be supplying both of them weapons. What type of shit is that, man? I used to stop when I was in the world, all right? And let's say I got into it with a guy, and me and this guy was at enmity with one another, and then you always have this other guy that you know, both of y'all cool with him. I would stop hanging with the dude that was cool with him. If he wasn't trying to bring me and this guy to a table and trying to work it out, man, look, both of y'all my boy, man. Look, y'all got to stop this shit. If he wasn't that tight, one day he hanging with me, then the next day he riding with that guy. See, guys like that I ain't fuck with. And that's how America is. America is guys like that. They get in between. When this guy's talking about me, you're hearing them. You're not coming back telling me nothing. If I say something about him, you might go tell him what I say. So that's what America does, man. All right? America's bitch-ass niggas, man. All right?
not result in a stable democratic system, where is the guarantee that further involvement will, especially if the U.S. is now essentially fighting against itself in Libya? In Washington, Rachel.
See, that's propaganda. See, Russia today, they expose America. They don't play with America. You see what I'm saying? The Edomites' tongues are falling up on each other. All right? They got the scriptures written in another place where it say their tongues will fall upon one another. All right? She said if democracy didn't work when you first went in there with this first government, now you're going to bring in this other fucking puppet. What make you think it's going to work now? All right? And how you going to, she said, she worded it so beautiful, and you're going to fight against yourself? Only the devil do things like this. The so-called white man is the devil the Bible speak of, man. So with that, Lord willing, to sit down was edifying to the hearers. I want to give infinite honors to Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to you, Sisiak, and pushing the truth across the four winds, Kwam Yasharala.